are we? Hello, hello. I'm going to wait for us to go live on my laptop. Make sure that you guys can see me on the screen here. How we doing? Print shop weekend is finally here. I am so super excited and happy to have you guys here. How you doing? I'll read your comments. So for today's session, I should move the camera. That does say hello. It's not like swearing at you or something. Today's session is just pretty much a meet and greet and answer any questions. And then we will get into creating the waterfall flap feature for the album, because I thought this is going to take a little while. And even doing it in the prep class, I want to give you guys time to practice it, because I found I had to make it a couple of times to make it work really smoothly. Some of you might be card makers or may have made the waterfall kind of feature where you pull the tab and all of the little pieces flap like a waterfall. If you've done it before, then you guys are pros. You don't even need me. You can just do it. For some of you other guys, I've made them before, but I have to practice every single time. There's just little things to tweak. So I thought today would be the perfect day for us to do that. So welcome. Hello, you love my earrings today? I love these too. Aren't they pretty? So as we're waiting for everybody to jump on, I'll just chat like you know I like to do. I go to this market here in Ontario, it's right in downtown Toronto, called the One of a Kind Arts and Craft Show. And there was an artist there who, can you see, aren't they beautiful? I bought 2 different pair of these, and I absolutely love them. So thank you. If you're new here, hi, I'm Vicki Booten, and I'm very excited to have you here. If you've been around for a while, you will know one of my favorite things to collect, or my loves, are earrings. I love big earrings. Question, will we get an album walkthrough? I can do that today if you would like. A lot of things will be done in the prep class, because we'll be spending a lot more time. I know I put that at 2 p.m. Eastern time. I'm hoping that time is going to work with the different time zones, but that prep will be a couple of hours. So I thought you can get your stuff done on Saturday for anybody who's in a similar time zone than mine, Eastern. And then you'll have lunch. We can sit down and work for a couple of hours next Saturday doing prep. I will have instructions and the cutting diagrams with the written instructions ready by the latest Friday. They'll be posted, so that gives you guys a chance to print them if you want to work with that. Really, all you'll need is a cutting diagram. So if you're brand new, hi. I'm very happy to have you here. I'm excited that I have a lot of returning friends and a lot of new friends that are here. So this is all new to you. First thing I'm going to tell you is just take a deep breath. It's fun. And the second thing I want to tell you, and anybody who's been here for a while, is when I say a box of paper clips, I mean you need a lot of paper clips. We run this all very systematically and organized. And after teaching for many, many, many years in person, the one thing that I will find in a class is where things go south is if you're not a naturally organized crafter. And I'm, for the most part, not a naturally organized crafter. Well, maybe a little bit of that comes out. I have control issues, so probably a little bit. But in one of my classes years ago, because I've been teaching some form of interactive mini album for, I don't know, at least 10 years, at least, and maybe longer. I started when Simple Stories came out with Snap albums, and I was one of their first educators with them. I actually taught for them. And then when I had my own collection, and I've done it with lots of other brands, but one of my joys is making smaller albums that I can see a start and a finish to. So with that being said, we're doing albums, we're doing some cards, maybe a tag, we'll see how it goes. And we're also going to be doing layouts. So all of the things that kind of encompass our love for paper crafting. So there's lots of questions. The other thing, please put right at the beginning, question in caps before your question, because then I'm going to go back through when I flip the camera, and I'll take a quick look, and I'll be able to find it faster. Okay, so that's super helpful. Paper clips are a tool. You will need a lot of them. So not just like a little handful. Buy a box. I'd have like 100 paper clips. It's not a bad thing to have because you won't run out. We clip all of the cut pieces, and you see how big this kit is. So there is a lot of clipping of all of the papers we're going to cut. And then we also clip and flip as we're building the album. Because what I have found, the Vicky Boutin method, is we don't build every single page down to the stickers. We organize the whole thing so you can finish it in one session, in the sense of every cut piece is where it needs to be. And then all you have to do is some of the gluing, and then you can add what I call the jewelry, all your embellishments, stickers, and all the rest at the end. Because you would never finish an album this size in the time allotted. Like, we're here for a long time. Like, I probably do at least 15 hours of live with you guys, probably more now that I have added on this meet and greet and added on the prep. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. What else do I want to tell you? Oh, the other thing we're going to go through sticky notes, because one of the things we discovered in the last class, and now is going to be one of the main things that I do, is as we cut, instead of naming the papers, we're going to number them. So even on my cutting diagram, they'll be numbered. So if I reference paper number 7, you will have a giant sticky note, or I might stamp with my letter stamp something that I can keep permanently, that I can use over and over again. So I might stamp some circles with a number on it and then punch them out, and then I can clip them on with that. But I just find, guess what? We have some people from all over the world, so language and can be an issue. The other thing is, it is the quickest reference ever. So I love when I get feedback and then something awesome comes out of it. Because I always will try to up it and make the experience better every single time. So instead of naming any of the papers, even the ones that have the strip with the name on it, because some are out of the paper pad, because we have exclusive papers in the paper pad that you cannot get in sorry, messages are coming up. I don't know how to shut that off, so that just distracted me. That you can't get in open stock. So I just find, 1, it's easier to kit. 2, I can give you more. And 3, I think it's fun to have those kind of solid back-to-back papers that you can't get in the open stock. So we will be numbering all of the paper, and I think that's going to be super helpful. I'm going to take a look now at your questions. I am going to definitely run through like a walkthrough of the projects that we're going to be making. I haven't made the cards yet. I was away over the holidays, so this whole week is going to be wrapping up everything that we need. I have 9 of the layouts. 10 of the layouts are ready. I just have to glue some things down for 2 of them. So it's going to be so good. And then, yes, this kit sold out. It's sold out. I have to say, Print Shop is in probably, for sure, one of my top 5 of my collections with American Crafts favorites. This one, there are lots of very bold patterns with a lot of white. So I find that it is going to be so awesome when you layer. Yeah, so we make 10 layouts in class, and then I will do something bonus with your leftovers. There are going to be a ton of embellishments left over, like a ton, because of that papery pack that has 100 pieces in it. We are not using 100 pieces of that. So what's awesome, they'll work great in art journals, in any of your other projects. So very excited. Let me look at your questions, and I'm going to Blair Witch you now, because this is Vicky just in the basement of her home. Welcome to the Boutin residence. I don't have any kind of fancy setup. I'm going to work on getting some cameras set up so I can do the overhead camera and everything a little smoother. But when I'm doing the lives, I literally just flip my camera around. So like I said, 200 pieces. Holy moly. See, that's a lot of stuff. So I'm going to Blair Witch you. So I'm going to flip the camera around right now, because you don't need to look at me anymore. So hey, how you doing? Hope you enjoyed the view up my nose. So let me flip it around. And like I said, just a sec, friends, because it will get a little jiggly for a minute and then I have to make an adjustment. So there we go. Not too bad, right? So I won't jiggle you too much as I put it back into my holder. I think we can see everything on screen. Excellent. And I'm going to adjust my light. Okay, so I'm looking at questions right now. Yes, my friend Kari is here. I love you. Very happy to have a lot of my returning friends and super excited for lots of the new friends. Oh, look, I love it. You got to see my belly. Up my nose and my belly. Wow, right? I'm winning today. So let's look at the questions. So how many people do we have with us today? Let's take a look. Because I know not everyone will be here. So only 157. So I say only 157 because that's not even the half mark. So make sure if your friends aren't here today, you let them know that we actually are going to be creating this element, because I'm not going to be doing it again. This will be when we do it. So I want to talk about that first, so we kind of know what you're in store for today. Some of you might just be checking in. You might be in the car. You might not be home doing this because you figured it was just kind of a little like chat time. So let me make sure I go. So my comments, because they taught me that I need to make sure my comments are. Where did I find that before, friends? When you told me that there's a spot, right, for the comments that aren't just top comments. Do you remember that? There. See, I'm on top chat, so just give me a second. So you guys might find this helpful as well. When you're watching a live YouTube stream, you can go in the little chat box, and at the top will either say top chat or live chat. If you click on live chat, then you will see exactly like everything that everyone is posting. Oh, there's 238 watching? Oh, I don't see it. So, okay, that's good. So almost, we're closer maybe to half. Okay, so make sure that your chat is on live chat, because now I can see all of the questions. So question, decorating for the weekend. What will our color for the weekend be? Thoughts? Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not going to read those questions just yet because I need to focus on what we're going to talk about today. So I just want you guys to know where we're going with this. One of the elements in this album is the waterfall flat. So the idea with this is that we're going to build it today so that it doesn't take up a ton of time when we go to do our prep work or for cutting and assembling for the album. Because what I found is I had to create this twice to get everything lined up so it would work nice and smoothly. So what I'm going to recommend today is we're going to cut the papers, and I'm going to create mine out of what we are going to be using for the album, so you have a reference to it. But I would recommend you grab some scrap papers and make yourself one like I did for just practice, right? Because what I find is the first time I made it, everything wasn't square enough, and it wouldn't flip and flap as easily as you would like. So what I'm going to recommend is a full sheet of cardstock. So I have one behind me. It's all you need right now for the prepping part. So just a bonus sheet of cardstock, anything that you have in your stash. Just a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock, any color, because this is literally just going to be for practice. And then you need a 5 by 5 piece of pattern paper. So like I said, I'm going to cut it out of the pieces that we need, the original, like what it's going to be. I would like you to practice with scraps unless you feel very confident that you're going to be able to do all of this. And I'm going to leave that totally up to you guys, what you want to do. And then you have time to practice before the class. Does that make sense? Is that working for everybody? Is it thick? Well, it's just regular cardstock, but I'm going to show you what's going to happen here. So look it's a waterfall flap, it's a top flap, and it's a pocket. So it will all be made out of the teal colored cardstock in the kit. There's 2 pages of this color. It's called Peacock. We're going to cut one piece because we don't need to make the base. Like all of this is going to be glued onto a second piece of Peacock, but we're not going to cut that right now. Okay, we're just going to cut the pattern paper piece and the interactive bit. So that's just to give you a chance to grab what you need. And now we'll do, like, let's have a little chat before we start. So I figure we can chat for as much time as we need, answer all the questions. I'll go back through and look. What weight is the white paper? This white paper is just to represent photos. This is not cut out of the kit. Anywhere you see in my album, most of the time, the white photos or white mats you see are just to represent, so you could see that you can add photos onto the flaps. So my white cardstock is I just use the like Nina or the stuff from Michael's, like the paper pad for matting, because it doesn't need to be heavy, right? Just for the mat. I have a canker sore under my tongue, so if I struggle with words a little bit, just give me a minute. It's kind of hard to talk because it hurts. Question: how do we watch these videos later? Just follow the exact same links. So make sure that you subscribe to my channel and bookmark the link. And Natalie explained that beautifully in the private group on Facebook, how to do that. So you can easily come back and reference these by making a folder. And I would put all the print shop videos when they're done and all the links into a folder in your Instagram, or no, what are we on? YouTube, so that you can come back and reference it. So yes, 100%, these will all be recorded. Okay? Let's go through what other questions. Question: will you cut the kit cardstock on the prep day? So today we just use the practice paper. No, Amanda, I'm going to create mine out of the paper. So you can definitely cut with me, but I would set those pieces aside and I will cut practice and I will cut the 2 pieces out of the kit. So some of you might not have your kit paper. Some of you may have just ordered the cardstock because you didn't have the color because you're using your own supplies. So I'm going to be cutting this piece so you guys will see, and it timing wise we'll have 2 pieces cut. I'm also going to be cutting out of these 2 papers from the kit, which I will tell you what they are in a second. But yes, I'm going to cut twice. I'm going to cut and create out of the original pieces what you will need to either do live with me now or finish as homework, depending on your confidence level for the scoring. I'm going to create out of the original, so I'm going to cut the papers out of the kit, because otherwise, how do we revisit this, right? I'm not going to recreate it later, so I just feel like let's prep out of the kit. But I recommend also cutting out of scraps so that you can make a practice one first. And then guess what? If it turns out perfectly, you have 2 to use, right? So, yes, what you will need for today. Let's go through that first. And then you guys could be looking for your stuff before I go for flip through for projects. If you have your kit handy, I am going to be cutting out of Pattern Play. It's this paper with the triangles and the kind of green and peach floral. All I'm cutting out of this today, we're going to cut a 5 by 12 inch strip and a 5-inch piece. Don't cut it yet. I'm going to cut it with you, but that's all we're going to need out of that. And then I'm going to be cutting strips out of this, which is called Peacock. And you should have 2 pieces of this, so you only need 1. This is the wrong color, so I'm glad I looked. This is Blue Calypso. They're very close. Let me grab it. This is Peacock. There's 2 sheets of that. See the color difference? So not out of Blue Calypso, out of Peacock. okay? So again, to repeat, because maybe you just got here and you weren't aware of this, I am going to cut and create out of my kit pieces. Unless you can do this with me, you're going to cut it with me for sure. You may create your watercolor out of this today, or you may feel more confident cutting a second set, which I will also do with you today, so that you can practice before you use your actual product for your album. Okay, so these are the two papers, again, Pattern Play and one sheet of Peacock. And then I grabbed my bonus piece is just a piece of yellow cardstock and purple, because it's easy to see what we're going to do on the front and back. Okay, this is not out of the kit, this is out of my scraps. The other thing that you will need is some type of score tool. I'm going to use my mini scoreboard. You can use a scoreboard or whatever you usually use when you are measuring and scoring. Bone folder, pokey tool, whatever it is. You could also do it if you have a well-based trimmer, if you don't have a scoreboard, or you could just draw the lines on and then find something that's kind of cushiony and use a ball burnisher or bone folder to score. Whatever you have, but we need something to do scoring with. You need your paper trimmer. We're going to do an interior cut, meaning we're going to only cut 3 sides of a square inside the box of pattern paper. I did it because we're going to draw lines on it, and I use my paper trimmer with the numbers on the little flippy side. But you also, if you want more control, could use a cutting mat and a X-Acto knife with a ruler. So I will show you both, okay? I want to make sure questions are still working, because sometimes it doesn't. Is that good for everyone? Are we clear on that? So this is all you're going to need today, with a pen, ruler, and a pen. Okay, let's grab a pen. Or pencil, whatever. It's going to be on the back of the paper, so it won't matter. And this is what we're going to need after we do a little walkthrough, answer some questions, and do a little chat. But this is pretty much what we're going to be using today, because I think it's worthwhile to practice building that interactive portion in the album, because it's a little bit on the trickier side. It's not hard once you make one. I find it's pretty easy. Liquid glue and a tape runner. Okay, you will need that without garbage on it, because we'll have to glue a couple of little pieces down. I'm going to be using Connect glue. Some of you will use, what is your glitter art, whatever glue? You can use your Barely Art glue. What I find is this sets up nice and fast. But remember, when you're using wet glue, it's messy. So a little goes a long way. Don't get really crazy with your glue, okay? Do we have any sheets that need to be fussy cut? That's not for today, Wendy. This is just usually would be the meet and greet. Next weekend is prep. And then that's when I'll talk to you about all of that stuff. And I will have it posted. So I will let you know earlier in the week if you want to kind of get a jump on that. There is not a ton of fussy cutting, but I need to finish the cutting diagram, draw it all out. Because I draw it rough. I'll do like a pretty one for you guys and have all that posted, but it will be posted ahead of time. But I don't want to overwhelm anyone today, but there are, to give you kind of a rundown of how my classes work. I come out with 3 collections a year. 3 collections a year. This year was Sweet Rush, Evergreen and Holly, and Print Shop. The kits, like my next new collection for 2023, will come out in March. So you're seeing already like sneak peeks of my friend Paige Evans. Hers and there's a new Bow Bunny and a crepe paper will all release in February. Mine will not release until March. Now, with that being said, I have no clue yet. I have to reach out to marketing and American Crafts when we'll start sharing sneak peeks. But I know that there are no samples. Nothing has arrived yet other than samples that they work on as they're checking color and dye lines and all of that kind of stuff with product. So at this point, there are no samples. So I have nothing that I can share with you. I have a few things that they inadvertently sent to me rather than American Crafts. So I am very excited to see that I have seen some actual real product in my hand. But that one is not coming to March. With that being said, to give you an idea of how these classes work is I get the product, I will offer a certain amount of kits for sale, and then I will always do access only and always recommend that you remember that we use almost everything in the kit. So the class should be set up, if you're doing the class, that you still are going to support your independent retailers or wherever you buy your product, because I'm going to also be using Print Shop now until March, right? Till the new collection comes out. So if you join me on a Friday Night Live, like the last one, oh my goodness, did you guys see what we did on Friday? Let me grab it. You will want still to have product if you are a Vicky Boutin lover and love what we do. Where did I put it? With that being said, like, you, maybe one print shop is enough for you, right? But if you decide that you really want to still play along with all my lives, which is pretty much, when you look at it, a free class every Friday that I do them, you will still want to buy your own product outside of the kit. So that is when it's super helpful to, if you purchase your kit through me. Some of you can't, because I don't really ship internationally, because it is just one Vicky. It's not a big company over here. It's just me and my husband, right? And a little bit of help that we have. But I will use my own product for quite a while, right? So that's kind of how the kits work if you're new here. A lot of you came in a little bit late and the kits were sold out, and now you're just trying to source the product. Use what you have on hand. You still can completely enjoy these classes and what I will teach you and share with you and what the community shares. There's a lot of learning. A lot of great friendships have been created from the people that gather to play along with me. And I feel like the value is there tenfold, with just between education, product that you get in the kits. For the $40 Canadian value, you get way more than really you sign up for, right? It's going to be a lot of fun. So I just want you guys to know that if you are new, the biggest thing is really when we're doing the paper cutting, because we cut all of the paper together in the class. We're going to do on the prep day some of the harder, fussier cutting. We will talk about the fussy cutting, like when we cut, say, the hearts out of a pattern paper, because that is a big Vicky thing, is I create papers that give you lots of bang for your buck. Some of you are not lovers of fussy cutting. You can do it if you want to. I will be using a lot of the elements in the projects, but you don't have to. Like I said, it's a suggestion and you can do whatever you like, okay? But you are going to want to listen, watch, and cut the cut. And I will tell you, for some of you guys, the first time being here, it is very difficult to let the control go. So I think awesome feedback. I feel like I need to be looking at you. Can I flip the camera again while we talk about the basics of the class? Because you're only looking at my hands and it's weird. So just one sec. I'm going to flip you again. Hi. That really was up my nose. Because I think this is important, right? Because you guys have been here for a while. You know, you know the things. For people who are new, this can be a little overwhelming, but in a good way. So I'm going to talk to you for a minute, because this is what this day is all about, right? Okay, so I'm sitting down with you. Golden nuggets and tips for success in this class are going to be Post-it notes, paper clips, and going at your own pace. If you find that the cutting is too fast, this is all recorded. You don't have to cut live with me. You don't have to create anything live with me. I have some people who the first time they're here will sit and watch the whole thing, and then go, okay, I'm good. I'm going to come back, and I like the idea that I can pause and I can go. at my own pace. The other thing is you can pause the live video. So when we're watching, like when you look on your screen on your computer, wherever you're watching from, you can pause, go walk the dog, do whatever, and come back. The only thing you need to keep in mind is you are no longer live in the process. You are going to be behind me. So if you ask me a question in the chat, it could be from something that was 10 minutes ago, and I won't be able to go back unless you are very specific, but I don't want to mess up the whole flow of the class. So like I'm saying, just kind of keep that in mind. The other thing on YouTube, you will know you're live if you hover over your screen. And do you see a button there that says live? It needs to be highlighted with the red dot. So that when the red dot is highlighted, it means what you're watching is actually happening in real time. Other tips are share my brain. I always say I'm your creative Yoda. I don't think he's back. Oh, he's up there. There's a little Yoda up there. I'm your crafting Yoda, meaning I'm just guiding you through the process. But the point is all the paper cutting is out of my brain. So I find the only time that people sometimes have issues or have struggle a little bit is when they cut ahead, or I always say measure twice, cut once. I repeat the cutting diagram instructions multiple times before we cut. I cut it live with you. So I really recommend just doing exactly what I tell you. Don't try to think it through. The other thing is I would only print the cutting diagram. I wouldn't print the written instructions. I put them out there because I know some of you guys, it's how your brain works, right? But I think having just a visual reference of a 12 by 12 and then cutting through it is super helpful. You see these kits are big. We're going to be doing a lot of paper cutting, and that's why I have split this now into a meet and greet where I'm pulling out the hardest, what I think, or I don't know hardest, but maybe most labor intensive item, which is going to be this waterfall flap that we're going to create today. So that gives you 2 weeks, right, to prep it. We're going to do the prep on Saturday, which isn't all the paper cutting. It's only going to be part of the paper cutting. And what I go through is pick out, like it might be, remember, I'm going to number everything. It might be 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 12, 19, and we'll cut those papers so we get like a jump ahead, and that gives you guys a whole week to work on that. If you know you're maybe a little bit slower crafter, or you are a precision princess or prince, knowing that you like to make sure it's all lined up and square. And then we will paper clip those, and then we come in on Friday. We're going to do the card class, which is pretty much just going to be the white card stock, your stamps and stencils, and we're going to make out of those things because I think it's nice that you can come in at the end and you can embellish. But the card class actually comes first, but it really would be nice at the end. But because it's the shortest class, I just put it on first. But you can then take the techniques that we're going to learn on Friday, and you can incorporate them with any of your scraps when we're done after Sunday. Then on Saturday, when we come in, first thing we're going to do is finish our paper cutting. We clip everything, we organize everything, any kind of inking or anything we're going to do, we'll do then. And then we are going to take a break for lunch, which I just keep the camera running live. And then we come back and we start putting everything from page 1 to page 70, or how many pages are in this album, 50, in order. We do some of the gluing, we do some of the interactive bits. And then when you're done, you have everything ready that all you have to do is glue some bits and embellish, because there are a ton of ephemera pieces. Tools for success when it comes to the ephemera is I have a whole bunch of bowls and little containers that I like to kind of separate my ephemera. So it's one of those things you could open your packages and kind of do ahead of time if you want. Like take all your titles and clip them with a paper clip. But I'd keep them separate, right? So you have your floral and title pack, and then you have your icon ephemera. I kind of keep them together, but I will go and I'll show you, because I'll have it all done before we maybe before prep day on Saturday, or even I'll show you kind of how I do it, but I'll put all my titles together. I'll put certain types of florals together, leaves together, labels, tabs, all clipped together. So it's just easy to find them. The other thing I always keep is the backing of the packaging, so I have a quick reference point when I'm looking for, oh my goodness, where did the green bird come from? Is it a sticker? Is it from the papery pack? Which ephemera pack? I have quick references by having all of those packs handy. There's a ton in this freaking kit. There is a ton of embellishment. There's chipboard. There's the new papery pack, that 200 pieces, 100 pieces of art repeated twice. There are 2 ephemera packs. There's stickers. There's sticker books. There's stickers. We're not going to use probably half of it. Not even going to use half of it. I feel comfortable with the amount of embellishing I've done in the album, and there is a ton left. I will have everything extra for a bonus class that isn't set in stone when it will be, but I always will show you what to do with your leftovers. Like I'm telling you, you end up getting, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 classes out of the kit. So it's going to be lots of fun. Questions. I'm pulling my laptop over, and then we're going to get to, I'll do a walkthrough, but I felt weird for you guys just talking to my hands. So ask it again right now if I missed anything. Ask it again if I missed it. Is anyone feeling like, oh, this is a lot of information, I'm completely overwhelmed? Don't, because it'll be fine. Question. When you pause and come back live, does the YouTube play from where you left off so you can watch, or does it jump to the actual live? I believe it plays to where you left off, because unless you click the live button and make the little red bit highlighted, you're going to be behind me. It'll just keep playing from where you've paused it. Like I said, for some of you, you know you know your learning ability, you know what a kind of, if you're a perfectionist or if you're a slower crafter, or for some of you, numbers might be, take you a little bit to compute. Cut what you can cut, you can always come back. You do not have to do this class live. I have a lot of my friends out there who literally watch the whole thing, and they're like, I just like to hang out with Vicky the first time, and then I come back and do it. Everything will be recorded. I never will delete it unless something happens to me or YouTube kicks me off. It's always going to be here, okay? Hi, Kristen. How are you, friend? Team Perfectionist here. So you know what I'm talking about, right? There's no judgment. You know what works for you, and that works for me too. So, but I find I have been teaching these for a long time. Most people come back. The ones that don't come back, I don't know. No one has ever sent me scathing emails saying, I hated your class and I'm never coming back. I'm sure it happens out there, right? We all have our own favorite cups of tea and our own flavors of tea. And the Vicky Boutin tea might be the tea that you want to drink. And for some people are like, that was fun. I tried it. Don't want to do it again. Totally okay with that. Ask for the help. I will help you. Natalie will help you because she's here and always a super supportive member of my team. And this community will help you. And I've been, like I said, I've done it for a long time and feel like the Vicky Boutin style of teaching online classes is meant to encompass every level of ability, creativity, speed. I'm giving you the tools and giving you the permission that if you have to leave a paper and come back, you can do that. Remember the numbering system. I listened to last time that would be better to have something that organizes the papers. You're going to love this. I think it's going to be leveling up the whole experience. It's going to be good. Have your snacks ready. I will definitely will have at least 2 breaks in there, right? It'll be good. Okay, questions, and then we're going to do the walkthrough. But I think I've covered pretty much the basics of how this will run, right? Yes, you do keep coming back, Carissa, and I'm always happy to have you guys here. You know, I do these live and had started this whole live long before the pandemic, and I'll tell you why. Lots of people do lives, but they don't really interact. It's live, but they aren't talking to the people out there. My biggest thing with this is I like to go through, read your questions. I love the community aspect of this. I love teaching in person. I live for that, to actually, the friends that I have made out of this community and out of something I love doing, and that found this whole group of people who love doing it with me, is magic to me. It fuels me. I absolutely love it. What's amazing with online classes and doing this live is we can connect in our PJs. We can connect all over the world. We can connect where you don't have to pay for the travel expenses and all the things that come with that. So I love that I offer lots of different ways that we can be together creating and take advantage of this community. I know a lot of you watching right now are lurkers or don't know how to comment on here. You do, I think, just have to have a Gmail account, and you can comment on here. We can talk about that prior to, if you do want to be able to comment. I know some of you watch this on the TV, so you aren't interacting like you would on your phone or on your iPad. So whatever works with you. Is there a color chart ready for distress colors? Only using two. Only using two. Fossilized amber, and what was the other one? I told you guys on, it's a salmony color, and I just forgot what it's. Give me a minute. It's over there. It's over there on the other side of the room. Does anybody remember? Totally a lurker. I love it. I love my lurkers. Abandoned coral. Thank you. Both oxides. Abandoned coral, fossilized amber. Does that mean those are the colors you have to use? Absolutely not. You can use whatever colors that you want. That's evergreen and holly. I have to look. I'll look for my print shop distress colors, and I'll share that with you. But I found those two colors worked beautifully with this, and we're not using a ton of it. It's just a little bit with the stencils. Question. I have a spray. Will that work? It can. If you sprayed it maybe on your craft mat and used an ink blending tool, because you're going to want to control it. I wouldn't spray, but you could use it like a liquid ink if you wanted to, right? There are lots of questions. Let me answer them. But yes, abandoned coral and fossilized amber are the only two ink colors that I am going to use. And I'll stick with that because now I've said that, right? That just those two colors. It right over my shoulder is evergreen and holly. So I'll take a look to see if that's usually where I keep them, if it's in there or not. Okay. So have I missed anything? Because I'm sure if I didn't answer you guys live, that Natalie or somebody in here has. I chug the Kool-Aid, Lorianne. I seriously, man, absolutely love doing these, and just kind of coming in and connecting with you guys for these meet and greets is the best. So I want you to feel like you're meeted and greeted if you're new. I definitely want to make you feel like you are here doing the things. Anelsi. Anelsi. So my friend Anelsi's here from Puerto Rico. I'm going to be in Puerto Rico in San Juan in February. I think February the 17th and 18th. So I've already reached out to Nilmi. I'm hoping that I can see some of my friends while I'm there. So, hola, chica, Puerto Rico. See, that's how she taught me, Puerto Rico. So yes, sorry, I just wanted to say that when I saw her here. So let's do the things. I'm going to see if there's, ask the question if you need it. I need to switch the camera around again. So now I have to do all of the things. So you like my sweater? I bought this at Ross for like $10. So my American friends will understand. Here we go. Got to lift this up so you guys can see. Gonna flip the camera again, and let's do a walkthrough. I know you guys are eager to see what we're gonna be making. And then we'll do the prep for the waterfall element. Here we go. Flipping again. Get to see all the mess everywhere. Boop. This again, if you're just joining me, was the layout that we made on Friday. And you guys obviously really enjoyed this one because it's probably the most postings I've seen of people who actually sat down and created this. If you haven't purchased these yet, I'm going to buy more. I'm going to keep these in my store for as long as I can till they're all gone, because you know with American Crafts it's one and done. So these will never be reordered by them. When all the stock is gone, they're gone, but I will order a ton so we can keep using them until I run out. But I absolutely love them. And a little hint, there's a new set coming with the release in March. So gonna be excited about those. I love the paints too, even just for the gold. The gold is magic. So this is Print Shop. And that gives you kind of a little idea of what's in store. Let's take a look at the album. So this, if you're just joining me, is the element we are going to be working on today, just so you guys have time to perfect it. So we'll do some paper cutting. We're going to make this. I love it. And I'm going to do a walkthrough of the album. I will show you the layouts that are glued down. There are two I can't share with you right now because I haven't glued, they're built, but I haven't committed with glue yet. Okay, so we'll do a walkthrough of that. Did I miss any questions? Does anyone feel like I've left them out? I never want that. So let me know if you're like, Vicki, I've asked 3 times and you've completely ignored me. I don't want you to feel like that. Make sure that when you're on the group page, make sure you're on the Facebook group page so that you can look in the guides section and it will have links for everything. For each class, in the section where you see, if it says album, I will link your instructions, your cutting diagrams in there, and I'll put them in a separate area as well. But just make sure that you're kind of aware of dates and everything that's going to be coming down the pipeline. If you don't remember, we will always remind you. I'm going to see if that ink thing is back here. Because sometimes I'm not organized. Oh my goodness. Can you even believe it? It's right here. So these are the colors, I will post it, that match beautifully with Print Shop. Okay, I'm going to be using fossilized amber and abandoned coral in oxide. But other colors at work are saltwater taffy, barn door, selvage patina, evergreen bough, peeled paint, shabby shutters. Uncharted mariner actually works really well with this as well. But remember, we've talked about I need some new colors, Tim. But yeah, you just added a photo. Thank you. Natalie's on it, okay? So look at, Vika was actually organized and it was right behind me. So let's look at the album. Let's look at what we are going to be creating, because that will make it worth the blood, sweat, and tears, right? So I'm going to make room here and I'm going to do a full walkthrough of the album with you guys. Sorry, I just need to move all the clutter so you guys can see it. Okay, here we go. You ready? Make sure I am live. There's just a little bit of a delay. I'm going to have a little drink of my very cold coffee. Okay, so this album is probably one of my hands down favorite that I've done. I feel like it doesn't matter what your favorite style is, your favorite color palette. I feel like this will embrace and encompass all of them. It just is going to be a perfect place for any kind of photos you want to use. I feel will go with this color palette. Things that I love with this is this new papery pack. Here's another little tip when we use the papery pack. There are vellum stickers in it, which means it's hard to release the backing off of them, but not if you have a weeding tool. So anybody who does any work or has worked with a vinyl and their Cricut or their Silhouette, you might have a little tool that looks like a dental tool, that looks kind of like a dental explorer, or a pokey tool, like a little sharp point, or even an X-Acto knife. That is what I found was a key to success with removing the backing. And I'm going to show you quickly so it gives you time to search your stash. I walked away, so just give me 1 second. And I'm going to grab one out of that pack. Okay. So there are vellum stickers, right? They're beautiful. I absolutely love them. Do you see this watermark right here? See this? That's a vellum sticker. It looks like it's part of the album. You can see some of the design pop through. Absolutely beautiful. This is a vellum sticker. But for some of you, I don't want you want to kick it in the face because you can't get it off. So if you have, like, see, I could be cleaning your teeth, or I could poke this and peel the backing off. So I find that that is a helpful thing with these, any of these tricky stickers that you can't figure out how to get the backing off. Just get a little pokey tool, okay? And then look what happens. But you see what I'm saying? What ends up happening is this is vellum. It's thinner than the backing. There is no outer edge. So maybe your fingernails can fit underneath it. Because mine are fake, I can't get my fingernail underneath. I found this was a great solution. Okay? So I wanted to let you guys know that. I think it would work perfectly for your trip to London. And the other thing that wasn't included in the kit, but is not vital if you don't have it, and even for some of you guys that got the last bunch of kits, I ran out of these. So I added a ball chain, a little butterfly charm, but you could put anything on there, right? Butterfly charm, a little star charm, and then a little gold tassel. And then this is in your kit. Isn't that fun? So you could paint the back, do something on the back, but I'm here for the good times. True story. True story, right? So this is the cover. I love it. I love everything about this collection. This is some of the inking we're going to do. This is fossilized amber that we're going to use the stencil that is in the kit. These are vellum butterflies out of Print Shop. Look at how beautifully they work. Love it. So to give you an idea, I love anything that flips, flaps, and gives me lots of real estate for my photos. So we're going to have some that are just straightforward pages. We are going to have some fussy cutting. Don't jump ahead and start doing this because some of these will cut certain pieces out of the paper and then the leftover. But oh my goodness, this is not going to be hard work for you. None of the fussy cutting is hard in this, right? And if you guys weren't aware, a lot of the art in here is taken, the background bases are taken from my gel plate prints. So I think what makes this collection extra special is that it is not computer generated art. It's actually photographed art or scanned art that then the elements are made out of. So I think it's another thing that makes this really, really special. So you have lots of pages in here that we are going to be creating that have like double flaps. But do you see with the craft in the white, it just, it's just so good. I have to tell you, I absolutely freaking love this collection. This album was like the easiest thing to make because I just love the whole process. Like I said, there are tons of stickers and elements that you can add. You can add more things to your pocket pages. I've left mine naked because I decided when I add photos, that's when I want to add some of them. So I don't want to make you feel like you have to put those stickers on. That's one of the other things I'm going to change moving forward. I don't have to fill every page with everything. I would rather you have a little bowl of extras that when you start filling this with your memories, you could start putting some different elements on here, right? Oh, how wonderful. Oh, you're talking to you guys, each other. All right, so if there's any questions, let me know because I'm going to read one of your comments out and it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about because you're talking to each other. So just let me know, right? So look at this interactive bit with the purple. Who knew? Vicky always says I'm not a purple fan, and I absolutely love this page. Isn't that fun? So it's going to have this interactive element and then a top flap, and just works beautifully with these colors. And then, you know, some are just going to be a mat for a photo, different sizes, a pocket. This one, look at, I love this page. Purple, pocket, flap, 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 flap. Isn't that fun? Yeah. Flap, 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 flap. All that real estate for your photos. And do you see what the magic is with this collection? Look at the contrast. You have this peach, this purple on this beautiful navy. I just find that I feel like you're going to be on board with me, that this collection is going to be your favorite. One of your favorites anyway. I have lots of favorites, but I really do love this one. So it works beautifully then with this page with the stars on it that look like washi tape stars. Then look at this flat page. So we're going to use the little tags and create that little flat page. And it says fantastic moments. And then here, lots of journaling opportunities, double top flaps, right? It's already your favorite collection. Me too, Irene. That's why I got to make sure. I just decided I'm going to put another order in for whatever I can get now from American Crafts, because I feel like I'm going to just stock it up in my store, because it's going to sell out. A lot of stores won't reorder, and I'm going to make sure I want it, because this will mix with other collections. This would mix with your Fernwood. This would mix with your color study. The new collection that's coming out, this definitely would work with the one that's going to be coming out in March. And I find they're great basics. Look at, I love this page. Like, love this page. Get cozy. It's the weekend, baby. Right? So lots, look at little side pockets. It's a fun one, friends. And even if this is your 20th album, because I don't know if my friend Paula's out there, or any of my friends that have done quite a few of these with me, this could be your 20th album that you've made with me. I still feel like there's something new and fun in all of them. So look at this element. So why you need a brad is I put this as a side pocket, but then look at these slide out for this little interactive slider. So instead of the normal kind of waterfall flaps I do, hello Paula, she's been around for a long time. Who else has been here, have done like more than 20? Yeah, 5th for you. I love this. And the black is magic. Like, look at, it's magic in here. And then that just slides inside. Right? Just slides inside. So like I said, lots are just simple elements. This is a top pocket, flap, and a pocket page. There are different little, like this, I haven't put anything in yet. You could put a piece in there. But look at, we're going to cut the vellum all apart. We're going to leave some with centers. This is why you need a 2-inch punch, because the circle inside, this was designed specifically to fit your punches. That you could punch the outer circle, you could punch the inner circle. So I thought that would be fun, and you're going to see how we use the rest of it in the layouts. That, look at, you could also then punch 2-inch photos and do kind of a fun little grid design with that beautiful foiling. So we're going to use the vellum there. I just love it. I love the camera elements. I could design collections that are all the same elements in different color palettes over and over again. I would never get tired of it. So these are going to be, this is one of the chipboard pieces that I kind of used as like a little hook to keep my flaps closed. We'll do this little side flap that you could put photos on the front and back, and then just take it and slide it underneath by only adhering the one side of it with foam dots. This is what we're going to work on today, which I love, is the little, right, waterfall flap. And then you have a top pocket and a flap. So very fun, right? It just, I don't know. I love this collection. I think that it really, when I design them, I love them, and it's really fun to actually then layer and put all your elements on. Look at 4 pockets, love it. And then kind of duplicated with the little 4 designs in the pocket pages. And then we have double pockets. But what I was saying is it's so much fun to then put it all together and see how it all works. And that's why I love that you guys joined me. So if you, it all works. And that's why I love that you guys joined me. So if you love my collections, and then you can see how my brain works with how I would use them creatively. My collections, and then you can see how my brain works with how I would use them creatively is kind of fun when you watch it all come together. So here is, look at a little waterfall flaps within your layered elements. Very fun. So any questions as we're going? Top flaps. So will you finish on Saturday where it looks exactly like this? Absolutely not. This is what I talk about, where we're going to clip. Like on a page like this, I'm not going to make you add any of these elements. I'm just going to say grab this and clip it, flip it like a book, and then we'll build the next page. On a page like this, I may very well build it with you just so you see it come together. But you aren't going to have all your stickers and bits on there. That's something that you can personalize and add later. What I share with you is just a suggestion, and then you can do whatever makes you happy. Like, oh my goodness, friends, look. So it opens with all these elements, but then it's a flap like that, and then it opens out like that. I love this one. I love this. I'm going to say it again one more time. I love this collection. Look at this page. No sound. What happened? Just a second. Why is there no sound? Just a sec. Can you hear me? It came back for you? Okay. You can hear me? What could have happened is sometimes, remember last time there was an emergency alert and my sound turned off? So good. We're back. So I just want to make sure you guys can see me. Boop. Straighten the camera. There. Good. That's what happens when we're live, right? So the only thing you can do is go out and come back in. Well, it is, because don't forget, like I said, friends, I am not a techie queen. Like when I talk to you guys, I am doing all of this with my phone. I do not have a whole studio set up. I'm not there yet. If I can find somebody I can hire who can do it, but I could never figure those things out on my own. So I don't want you to feel like it is. When I'm forward facing, it's louder. When I stand right next to my camera, it's louder. So the things you have to adjust are your volume, because I don't have a mic and all of those things, right? I just don't. So we do not have I'm not ABC, right? I'm not set up with a whole studio. So it's one of those things, we just make it all work, right? I love your boops. Makes me smile every time. It's true facts though, right? Like I want you guys to know, it's just like your buddy down the street who's like, hey, is this thing on? And I'm talking to you guys. I think it's what the charm of these classes are, is that you feel like I'm just your friend crafting with you. So even if I do set up and have all of the other things going on in the studio where I can do the overhead camera and a better kind of sound system set up, it's still never going to be perfect. I feel like I heard I love your boobs. That's what Kristen just said, and you probably saw them when I just flipped the camera around. Anyway, keep looking. Look at this page, but I'm glad the sound is back. That's important. I love this with the black paint on top, and then I added these stars that are fussy cut. And then look at, we're going to do like 2 little side flaps. Isn't that fun? So it's like a little peekaboo. And then some of these you could make top pockets, but some of it I just kind of switched, right? I'm like, okay, it's enough. Look at this one, is just the paper. We're going to fold in half and have this element. This is one of my favorite papers. But I just love this collection. I think it's the orange and the navy, and the salmon is actually a lot of fun. So that is kind of a quick peek, side pockets, of what we're going to be creating in this class. As far as the album goes, you could definitely carry the inking to the back. I might do that because I like it prior to teaching this, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You guys loving this album? I hope you're liking it. I hope there's no regrets now, a buyer's remorse, but it'll be a lot of fun. Here we go. Okay, so that's the album. Let's take a little peek at the layouts. Like I said, there are going to be a bunch of double page and a couple singles because it's all from the same collection. You can make any of the singles a double by just putting them together, right? You bought 2 sets of everything. Me too, Irene. Like I'm telling you, I have a ton of this one. So this one does not have a mat on it yet. I'm going to add this as a mat. So it is going to be a 1 photo layout, but I loved, ready? I love this. So we're going to be using some of the chipboard and all those tiny little stickers. I love grids. Grids are one of my favorite things to create with, and I love that there's a little story in each one, and you could put journal strips. This is probably going to be one of my favorite layouts from this collection, and it is the simplest layout ever. It's going to be 2 pieces of pattern paper, the mat and the base. And then everything else is just going to be pop dots or your friend and layering. Isn't this, do you freaking love this? And on the craft, right? So I'm only going to go like a 1 photo kind of deal, probably like a square, or you could put a 4x6. And then I may even still add to these. Because this is one, it's kind of in the process, but this is one of the layouts we're going to be making. Freaking love it. Look at this one, and I'm not done because I'm going to sew on this, friends. I'm going to sew right around the circle. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I think it'll be a nice element on here. But I love with all the artsy bits. So smile today with 2 photos. I will put white mats on so that pops more. And then I love this with a little color study. What do you call that? Swatching little thing, right? And then we still can add some stickers. So just kind of sat down and made all of these really quick before the vacation. So I still will add a few things on before I take final photos. So that is a single. Like I said, I have at least 2 more that I think I'm working on. Is that a single? Might be a single. We'll see in a minute. But look at this one. Oh my goodness, get ready. Look at this baby. Absolutely love this. This is called Love Days Like This. And it's going to, the birds, Natalie's favorite. And the little elements. I absolutely love this layout. I love white bases. But I love that it's not a piece of white cardstock. It's going to be so pretty. Just cutting some of the, or these are some of the ephemera elements just by using the little strips. So this is one of the double page layouts. Very fun. Here's another one. Let's see what Vicky's doing. You know what? I have trouble sometimes, so give me a minute. Look at this one. Isn't that fun? The small and happy things. So this is a double page. Here are the little vellum circles we're going to cut out with a 2-inch circle punch. Love this one too. We're going to be doing some inking. Like I said, the mixed media is very simple with this one because it's just going to be so much fun. Right? Lots of fun. And here's the other thing. For some of my friends here that signed up because you're more an album maker and you don't really make 12 by 12 layouts, here are 2 options. We'll have a lot of friends that will cut these down, make them smaller, and add 6 by 8 pages. I know some people make them into 8.5 by 11. Here's another suggestion. If you're hanging out with me, just do the 12 by 12s we do in class. By the time you're done doing my album and my things for the year and Friday Night Lives, you will have a whole 12 by 12 album. You'll have a whole, you don't have to do anything outside of what I teach you, right? If 12 by 12 isn't your jam anymore, literally just buy yourself one 12 by 12 album with pocket pages and just do the ones that we're doing and pick out your favorite moments and memories, right, from the year, and then you could add them in there. But love that one. The small and happy things. So many elements to layer and pop up. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, now I gotta remember. I don't remember what I put together, so you gotta bear with me. I think this is, let me look. Vicky has trouble. Like, seriously, I think one of these was supposed to be part of a double page. So I will figure it out more, but you get where I'm going, right? This is part of something. Oh, this, look. This is a double. Okay, I made this one as a double. Right? Here's the other thing. Guess what? Any of these can be singles or doubles because it's all from the same collection. But smile today, create magic moments. That's a double. And then there's stuff I'm missing, so just be prepared for it. I think this goes with a double. I just have to figure out where the other side of it is. But how pretty is this one? Friends, look at the florals in the opening in the vellum. I absolutely love this. So really this was only a preview. I will post all of them when they're done, but I'm still kind of working on the layouts. Like I said, on the other side, I think the other half of this is this paper. It's just not done yet. So to give you an idea, when I finish it, this is going to go on the other half. So I'm not losing my mind. This is the other half, right? So I haven't finished. Some of the things are glued down, but it's not completed yet. So it's going to be like something like good times, like that. Okay? A perfect day, good times, and then we'll put our photos in there. So, and then I have one more single that's on the other side that I freaking love that's not done yet. So they will all be completed, and like I said, there will be extras left over for us to make some extra ones, right? Love the hits of black and white. Me too, Kristen. And you know it's a very Vicky thing. Every single one of my collections have either black in it or navy because it's rests the eye and makes everything else pop. So it is definitely a Vicky thing. So you excited, guys? Question. Will you supply a list of items we need outside of the kit? Yes. It's already listed in the Creative Community group page. The only thing I don't know if I put on there, which I will review, is I think the pokey tool. I don't know if I put that in there. But it's all on there in the guides section of the Vicky Boutin Creative Community page. And it's also listed, if you want a really quick reference, is on access only on vickyboutin.com. If you find print shop access only, lists everything that's in the kit and all the tools that you need, right? So I am so loving this. Me too. So very excited. You don't have to apologize, Cecilia. It's what I'm here for. That's what meet and greets are for, so I can tell you all the things. You ready? Now that I warmed you up, let's prep our waterfall element. So let's talk about this, okay? The lessons Vicky learned as she went along. So when we cut this out, we're not going to cut the base, this part, which in the album is going to be in peacock. We're not doing this. We're only doing the piece that goes on top today, okay? The piece that goes on top, and this element is what fits underneath it. That is the actual pulley for the interactive portion. So we're going to be just building this part and setting it aside, and we'll complete it later. But tips to success. You need to score your lines very straight. If your lines are wonky, it's going to be very hard for this element to do its magic. The other thing is we're going to cut all of these pieces, which are the little flaps. What you're going to find is we're going to cut these initial sizes, right? But do you see that little overhang? So after we cut them, we'll go in and trim a little sliver off of each piece, because as you layer, it's going to go boop, 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 and get a little bit longer. So I found after the fact that would be a weird fraction and measurement. So I just go and eyeball it and cut a little piece off the bottom. Can you give sizes of the bases? We haven't even, I'm not sure what you're asking yet, Karen. We're going to be cutting all of this. So What is the ink on? What is the ink on? Not sure what that is, Paula. But we haven't done any of this yet. I'm just explaining, and we're going to cut all of it together, okay? So everybody take a deep breath. Vicky included, and I'll start again. I'm just showing you what it's going to look like. I'm going to explain all of it as we cut through. I just want you guys to kind of be aware of the tools for success. And your tools for success are going to be measuring everything straight and lining it up straight, because that's where I kind of messed up. And as I go, I will show you, okay? So when we go, and it's in the album, it is going to look like this. These two are just my testers. This isn't what it looks like in the book. The book is going to be on the peacock cardstock. So for right now, we're going to trim one piece of peacock. And I'm going to trim the piece of pattern paper. So all we're doing today, the white is just to show photo placement. This is not included in your kit. It's just so it photographs better and I can explain how you would add photos. I'm going to say this again because not everybody has been here the whole time. I am going to prep mine from pieces out of the kit. I highly recommend your first practice is on scrap paper from your stash, not from your kit, because if you mess any of this up, you might be really sad because you might not have a cardstock to replace this. And then I leave it in your hands, right? I leave it in your hands. If you want to do it with your pieces out of the kit, go for it. If you've done these before and you feel very confident, that's awesome. If you aren't super confident, do what I'm showing you today, okay? So I am going to talk about the things again. I am going to cut the papers so we have prepped it. So even if you're cutting out of your bonus extra pieces, I would recommend you cut these two pieces out of your kit just so the papers are cut and you don't have to do this step later. So the first thing we're going to do right now is we're going to cut pattern play 12 by 12 out of your kit, and we are going to cut out of one sheet of peacock cardstock. All right? I am going to prep the waterfall element out of my actual kit pieces, but I recommend you either just watch today or you play along with scraps. Okay? So I'm going to cut out of pieces out of the kit, and just so I'm caught up, I will, or you can do both, right? You can cut this, watch it, and cut these pieces, whatever you want to do. Don't get stressed right now. It's not hard what we're going to be making. It's just time consuming. So that's why I'm putting it in today's little meet and greet, because I thought, look, we can take a solid 40 minutes or an hour making this one element. I would not want to do that on the day of the class or on the prep day, that it takes us like an hour for one thing, right? So I thought it would be worthwhile to do it today. Okay, here we go. I'm going to have a drink. This canker sore. Have you ever had a canker sore under your tongue? Crazy. I went to the movies last night, friends, and saw the new Tom Hanks movie, A Man Called Otto, I think it's called. Freaking highly recommend. Was awesome, but be prepared to ugly cry. Be prepared to ugly cry. It was not a pretty scene. So we're going to cut out of this. I am walking away for a second. Need to check on the fam for a small cutting emergency. Okay. Be safe, Nat. Be safe. Okay, let's do our things. I read the book too. It was a freaking great movie though. I love Tom Hanks, so huge Tom Hanks fan. So it was so good. Kleenex needed big time. I'm going to see it again. I'm going to take my mom to go see it, maybe at a matinee. It was that good. I'd watch that movie twice. Now, personal preference, right? You guys might not like it, but I loved it. Okay, so grab your peacock cardstock, and we're going to trim 3 4x12 strips. Okay, so I'm going to take my little arm out, and I'm going to trim 3 4x12 strips. Three 4x12 strips out of one sheet of paper, not two, one. Okay. So things that you're going to notice where, you know, sometimes ish is fine. Ish isn't really a thing with what we're doing when you need things to flip, flap, and spin around and order you pizza. So when we get down to the pieces, like if I find that they're not all exactly 4, I'm not going to correct this now, but when I put it in my album, I will correct it. Because if you want it to all look very clean and polished at the end, everything kind of has to be the same size, right? So we'll talk about that when we get to it, but it is one of those things I just want you to be aware of. So we have trimmed 3 4x12s out of the peacock cardstock that you have 2 sheets of, not the blue Calypso, the peacock. And we're going to cut the pieces we need. Some of these we're going to be using right now. Some we're going to clip and save for when we build the album. Okay? And then we are also going to trim the pattern paper that we need. So out of one sheet, please trim a 4x4. So out of one of the 4x12s, trim a 4x4. A 4x4. And if you want to put a sticky note on to let you know what the size is, you can. I have my ruler. I'll just reference it. So one 4x4. One 3 by 3 1/4, so an inch smaller than 4. 3 by 3 1/4. Right? You can see what's happening already. Our whole stack is going to be a waterfall of a 1/4 inch, right? So each one is going to be a 1/4 inch smaller or larger. It's kind of hard to see because it's the same color. But our first one was a 4x4, a 3 3/4, and then a 3 1/2. Are we doing okay? All right, so we have 3 pieces in our waterfall. So the next size we need is a 3 1/4, right? We've done a 4, 3 3/4, 3 1/2. Now we need a 3 1/4. So that's just slightly bigger than 3. Okay, so right now you should have from our remaining strip, please trim 2 3-inch pieces. 2 3-inch pieces. Not all of these are going now with what we're doing. Some are going to be for the album as well, okay? So 2 3-inch by 4-inch pieces. One is going to go in our stack. Sorry, my fingernails are not allowing me. Okay, 3 by 4, 3 1/4 by 4, 3 1/2 by 4, 3 3/4 by 4, and a 4 by 4. You know why the sound went out and in? Can you hear me now? is because my friend Janice was trying to phone me on my phone. So it will, because remember, I forgot to put do not disturb on my phone. So you guys can hear me now, right? So the piece that's left over should be 2 3/4, right? Oh, good. I'm glad Natalie is safe. Everyone is marked as safe at her house. So the last piece should be 2 3/4 by 4. Okay? So for your final stack, is 2 3/4 by 4, 3 by 4, 3 1/4 by 4, 3 1/2 by 4, 3 3/4 by 4, and a 4 by 4. So I'm just going to clip those together because these are going to be these flaps, right? This first one is a 4 by 4. That's a 3/4 by 4. That is a 3 by 4. That is a, yes, this is a 2 I didn't do that right. 4 by 4. 2 3/4 by 4. 2 1/2 by 4. A 3 by 4. And then I'm forgetting the 3/4, aren't I? Vicky and math, man. I'll repeat all the sizes again for sure, Denise. Okay, 4 by 4, 2 3/4 by 4, 3 1/2 by 4, 3 1/4 by 4, a 3 by 4, and a 2 3/4 by 4. Sorry, I kept missing the 3 1/4, right? So 5 pages, each a 1/4 inch shorter. 100%. That's what will make the waterfall, right? So there are 5 4-inch wide, starting at 4 by 4, and then each one goes a 1/4 smaller, right? Is that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Okay? So if you just cut the cuts that we did as we went along, you will be good. I will do this again with you right now, because guess what we're going to do? Well, we still have one more piece to cut. And then I'll do the other one. So you still have, right? You have your stack of 6 pieces that were the 2 3/4, 3-inch, 3 1/4, 3 1/2, 3 3/4, and 4-inch by 4 stack. And then you will have a leftover of a 3 by 4. Okay, there's a leftover of the 3 by 4. Set it aside. It's for your album. It's not for this. And then out of your remaining paper, trim 3 4-inch mats. 3 4-inch mats. Okay, clip the 3 4 by 4s and the extra 3 by 4 together. And this is going to be for the album later. We do not need this for what we're doing right now. Okay? Hello, Danielle. And Lindsay and Noah. Hello, friends. Okay? So what I'm recognizing right now is we need one more piece out of the other sheet of peacock feather. Okay, so grab your second sheet of peacock feather, and we're just going to cut it. If you're doing it out of your scraps, you don't need another sheet, okay? This is only for the actual elbow. Because the piece that is not included right now in what we're doing, we need this piece for right now. This one, okay? So please grab your second sheet of peacock. And we're going to cut 2 strips out of this, and then we'll leave the scraps for later, okay? So out of the second piece of peacock, we are going to trim a 5.5 by 12. Okay. Just a second. Let me look. Yes, a 5.5 by 12. Okay, 5.5 by 12. That just clip with your extras because we don't need that right now. 5.5 by 12. Just clip with your extras. And then another 4 by 12, okay? A 4 by 12. Put this extra piece in here. We'll cut it later. We'll come back and revisit this. And out of your 4 by 12, please trim a 5.5 inch piece. 5.5. And I will repeat exactly what you need for right now, okay? So you need your 5.5 inch piece. 5.5 by 4 goes with this. We'll do the rest of the cutting out of this paper later, okay? I just wanted you to have the pieces you need for today. So put all of this in your extras pile, and when we do our prep on Saturday, we'll finish with this cardstock. Is that clear, friends? Is everyone okay with that? I'm going to cut the pieces we need again out of an extra piece of yellow cardstock just to refresh, so I can show you what you can use for scraps. Yes, Renee, if you are doing out of a scrap piece of paper, I'm going to do that with you right now. You don't need the second paper, but I would like you before prep day to cut out of your peacock so you don't have to do it later, okay? So you don't have to do it today, but before prep day. So out of my sheet of yellow cardstock, which I was saying if you guys are using extras, you're not going to make the real thing with me. We're going to, I'll show you quick. I'm just going to do a repeat of what I did, okay? So if you're doing a practice one, you would have your 4 by 12 strips, 3 of them, right? 3 4 by 12s. This would be if you're doing a practice, right? Paper's not square, so I definitely will be doing some adjusting. And I would have my 4-inch piece, my 3 3/4 inch piece, my 3.5 inch piece, right? My 3.5, 3 1/4 inch piece, my 3-inch piece, right? And this would be my 5.5. So I could get everything I need out of those 2 strips. That's good enough. Okay. So I would have my waterfall pieces. Do I have enough? Maybe need one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, need one more. I need my 2 3/4 inch piece. Now, do we see that my paper is not exactly 4 inches? So I will need to fix that and make some adjustments. Well, I won't, because I'm going to make it out of my original. Okay. So the other thing that you will need then is, out of a piece of pattern paper, if you're doing the practice, you need a 5x5 piece of pattern paper. Okay. So this is for practice I'm showing you, right? There's a practice. 5x5. For any of us that are playing along and doing our cutting, I need to trim a 5x12 out of the pattern play, and I'm going to create mine out of the actual paper. Okay? So you don't need to trim anything else for now. I'll clip this and it'll go with my other pieces for later. But I do have my 5x5 ready. Where did I put the, oh, down there. Okay. So friends, when we go to build this, we need to do scoring, because each one of these flaps is going to, when the element pulls out, can you see that pattern paper behind there? The other color of it is black, is going to do, 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 do. The element is all part of this pattern paper. So when we go to do this, we are going to draw on the back of whatever you're using as your scrap. Okay, whatever you're using as your scrap. You need to mark a 1/2 inch on each side. And if you need to watch this first to see what I'm talking about, 1/2 inch. So I like to do this just so I know it's square, and I will mark the 1/2 inch on both ends. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and then you line it up on the back of whatever you're doing, on the back, okay? So then I'm going to line up my two lines so I make sure that is completely square. And I'm going to draw my 1/2 inch line on both sides, okay? 1/2 inch line here, here, and then we're going to do it on the top and the bottom. So when we're done, we have a 4 inch square in the middle. Hi, Rich. Stop making a mess. Stop stepping on my mess is probably what I should say. Okay? And now I'm going to draw the 1/2 inch here and the 1/2 inch here, so I can do it on the other sides. Rich feels it vitally important to come and put groceries away in the fridge in my studio right now. So that's what you hear. Sidecar is down here putting groceries in the fridge. Okay?
My friends love me.
Yeah, your friends love you. Is that okay, friends? Is everybody clear on that? Yeah, he tripped on stuff that was on the floor. You know, Kristen, like I told you, you're in my house. So this is what happens, right? So now does everybody see that there is a 1/4 inch border around the outer edge and the center is a 4x4, which makes sense, right? Because these are all 4 inches wide, right? So this is going to fit in that outer border. We are going to be cutting that, leaving one side with no cut. So this is what I was saying. I did it all on my paper trimmer, but you could definitely use your X-Acto knife and a ruler. Pardon me, 1/2 inch, Kristen. Sorry, math. 1/2 inch. It's a 1/2 inch border, not a 1/4 inch. 1/2 inch. Okay? So remember, one side is not going to be cut. So even to remind yourself, don't cut this. So what I did is I just went and put it in my trimmer, and I can tell with my trimmer exactly where that all lines up, right? So sorry if my head's in here. So I can start at the 1/2 inch mark, and I can cut to 4.5. I can line that up again at the 1/2 inch. And I can cut to 4.5. I can line that up again at the 1/2 inch mark. And I can line it up at a 1/2 inch and cut to 4.5. And I'm going to show you the option with your X-Acto knife next, okay? So now do you see what we have? We'll score that after, but now we have the flap in the square. So let me show you again on the piece that I cut. And I will use my X-Acto knife. It's a 1/2 inch. Yes, sorry. Is anyone out there like that? So I can teach these things because I have to practice it, but I could never have been an engineer in school. Anybody with me? I couldn't have been a mathematician or an engineer. My brain just does not think like that. So I apologize if I say, oh, cut a 1/2 inch and then a 1/4 inch. I am always watching your comments, so I catch myself if I'm speaking in tongues. You only cut 3 sides. Correct. Correct. Only cut 3 sides. So I'm going to show you again now with my X-Acto knife, because that might freak some of you guys out to then cut on your paper trimmer, right? It is a little trickier, but I wanted to show you that you can use that option. Okay. And then let's do our 1/4 inches on this side. Does that make sense though, right? Only 3 sides should be cut. Out of the 4x4 square, the flap in the middle is going to be a 4x4 flap with one side attached. And this is why we're doing this as a prep, friends, right? I know, and I'd probably annoy some of you guys because you're like, she's saying the wrong thing, but the longer you hang out with me, I say the right thing the first time. It's just when it comes to the repeating stage that then I'm just throwing a whole bunch of weird numbers out there. Right? So now for that, I want to remember, I don't want to cut all the sides, so I like to mark it for myself. And then you could take your craft knife. You could line it up on your cutting mat to make sure you're cutting nice and straight. And then you're going to cut that inner section. Is this a tricky kind of thing? It is, but I feel like the reward is there. And that's why I feel like practicing is not a bad thing, so that you can master it before you commit to your the final project. Some of you are going to be like, yeah, this is not for me. Then you don't have to do it, right? If you don't like it, don't add it. Just put a mat down, or you can do whatever you like. But I really love how this turned out. I was really happy with it. So hopefully you give it a try. Okay, line up. But yeah, if you guys have been around for a long time, you'll be like, oh yeah, Vicky doesn't know what she's talking about some days. And I'll be like, yeah, probably agree with you. Just over here doing my best. Okay. Everything does really have to be square though, friends, for it to work well. So just take the time, take your time. There's 2 sides done. I'm not cutting this side, and then I'm going to cut the bottom. Okay, there we go. There's our 3 sides. So this is the piece that is actually the base and the mechanism. Does that make sense? Look at big words. It's the mechanism. Most of the time, it's do as I say, not as I do with Vicky. It's do as she does, not as she says. Anita, lucky you've been around here for a long time. You're going to scare people away, but it's totally true facts. Okay, totally true facts. So do you remember? So your brain understands what's happening here. 1/4 inch, right? So the element to make it go boop, 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 and pop over is going to be 1/4 inch. So we need to score on this part, however you want to do it. This part of the flap, not the outer edge, this part of the flap needs 6 1/4 inch score lines. 1/4 inch. This is where it's very important that you make sure they are nice and straight. So you can put it in here, depending on how well you cut your original piece. Do you want me to, you guys can see everything, right? Doop doop. If you want to draw lines on the back of it and score it all from behind, like go and measure out 1/4 inch for each and line them up so you have something to make sure you're doing it correctly, you can do that. I'm going to just give her, okay? So I know that, right? This is a half here, right? So if I go 1, 2, 1, 2 is the top of it. 1, 2 is my first 1/4. So let's see what the mathy side says. So my first score line on my scoreboard is going to be 3/4. 3/4 on the side, okay? So I cannot see these to save my life, so I just count them down. And don't get all fancy with the maths. Somebody's going to start doing all of the maths. I'm not that person. So my first one is at 3/4. I find that space. I go in there and then I just score. Okay, 1/4 inch. And then you know what I do? I line it up and I go 1, 2, right? That was my first one. I go 1, 2, and I score. Right? So that was right there, and I go 1, 2, find the line, and I score. So that one I'm on right now is 1 1/4, I think. So what you want though are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 score lines. So it's not like with me, it's not fancy, it's just practical. And if I start giving fractions, my mind does not work like that. I have a really hard time. So you do whatever works for you, friends. But you need 6 1/4 inch scores. And there are ways to make sure that we're good and lined up when we're done. So 1, 2. And don't worry if you scored too many. It all works out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need one more. 1, 2. Okay. So I have 6 score lines on here. But nothing on the edge. I only scored this piece. So if you can get it in there and make it square on here, you could do that. And just score your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. Like, look. I could do this. If this is easier for you, you put it in there. Just got to make sure it's very lined up and square. And then you could score your 1, 2, score. Your 1, 2, score. 1, 2, score. 1, 2. Do you remember I told you guys you need this mini scoreboard? I will have it permanently stocked in my store. It is my favorite thing. 1, 2. And guess what? How have I not told you guys to use this before? Anybody doing these classes with me? This is brilliant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one more. 1, 2. But we can make sure everything is nice and clean, and I'm going to show you how I did that. See? Parallel to the uncut. And you can score that if you want as well. Just so it a half inch, right? It's a half inch. So you can score at the base. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. Just so it flaps and folds for you nicely. Okay, that is a half inch right there, half inch. And then 6/4 inches at the top of the flap opposite where it's still secured. Let's do it on this one too. Clear as mud, friends. Tell me right now, anybody struggling with this? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why we're doing a practice one. I love this freaking thing. I make envelopes out of it because this gives you like all this stuff for envelopes on here. It is definitely very inexpensive and I think worth having. I'm going to be honest with you. And we have one more thing to score. And we can start doing some fun crap now. You ready? So whatever piece you're using, right, as your extra, do you remember we cut the 6 pieces at our 1/4 inch difference? And then this piece, which is 4, right, by 5 1/2, you need a 1/4 inch score. A 1/4 inch by 4 inch score on only one end, okay? Oops. I think he's just making stuff up now. They go along. It's a 1/4 inch on one end, okay? That doesn't even look like a 1/4. Beef that up a little bit. Okay, so you don't need to score anything on these. This is it. You have that piece, remember, Renee? That I said if you're doing it from practice, out of one of the 4 inch strips, you need, this is the puller. This is the piece that's going to attach to all of this and pull behind, okay? So again, this piece is a, let me look, is 4 by 5 1/2 with a 1/4 inch score on one end. Okay, 1/4 inch score on one end. And you will notice, because it pulls, you're going to actually fold that to the front if you want the texture to show. Okay, so I will fold that to the front if I want the texture to show. And when you are folding any of these, make sure they line up exactly square on each edge. Okay, so you're folding it to the front. And when you look at that 1/4 inch, make sure it looks like it's lined up nice and straight. If you guys are working on the actual finished piece, round your bottom corners. Okay? You need to round the bottom corners. You don't have to do it now. You could do it at any point, but those corners will be rounded in the album. See? These corners will be rounded. The other thing, if you are doing your finished piece, we need the little pattern paper glued before you finish this, right? This piece of paper will need to be glued. I'm not going to glue the flapper on until we go to build the album, so I still have time to do that. I just want to get the elements ready, okay? But you'll see that it would be way easier to put this on before you put the whole piece together. But I'm not going to actually glue it, so I will still have time. So if you're doing that with me, don't worry about it, right? Teresa, the pattern paper was 5 by 5. The piece that goes inside, we haven't cut yet, okay? So let's everyone take a deep breath, because I bet some of you out there cursing me. Tell me honestly right now. I'm going to explain it all again, okay? So this is why we're doing this. You understand why we're doing this in prep time. Listen to me, friends. I'm going to talk in my quiet voice. Take a deep breath. I'm going to go over all of it again right now. So get out of the uptight mode so that your listening is ready. Because I know I'm telling you, this is why I had to build this myself twice to figure it out. So I'm right there with you. So I'm going to explain it all again. Ready? Here we go. Here we go. The piece that we cut that was 5 by 5, we drew on the back a 1/2 inch border around it so that there would be an internal piece of 4 by 4. Then we only trimmed 3 sides, so when we lift it, it's a flap, right? It's a door. It's a door. There needs to be a hinge, and that's the one edge. So again, the outer corners are a 1/2 inch in this 5 by 5 piece, leaving us with this 4-inch door, okay? Once we prepared that, we then need to score 6 1/4 inch by 4-inch lines. They're each a 1/4 inch. You need 6 of them. If you made 7 or 5, it's all good. You just would have to come back and add another one. The 7-inch one won't matter because the last piece that gets attached on here gets glued flat. But you need 6 1/4 inch lines on just the interior part, not on the frame. Maybe it's easier to see on the purple, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 1/4 inch score lines. Perfect, Pam. I think it's best to even no cursing yet, right? I'm sure some people are cursing. It's this kind of stuff. I have a friend named Karen Bernstein. I think that's how her last name. And she is an engineer. And she was the first one, I swear, to do all of this stuff. She would do things that you would pull it open and it would spin around and do all those things. The first class I ever took with Karen, my thing did nothing. It didn't flip or flap because everything has to be so perfect. This is perfect for an engineer's mind. For somebody like me, and maybe a lot of you out there, I have to do it a couple of times because it isn't just a natural thing. So don't feel like you're the only one who might be lost right now. That's why we're doing it today. So practice will make learning, right? As you can do 1 out of scrap, you could do 2 out of scrap. I found I learned more as I worked through my mistakes. Okay, so it will be good. So what you're going to do now is see these 1/4 inches. We're going to fold them to the front. What I'm going to tell you, my tip for success, see, we're doing it in the square. Make sure they are perfectly straight. So when you do that flap, I can't see any purple underneath the blue. It's completely straight. No purple under the blue. It's not folded on an angle. It's folded straight. Okay? So we're going to fold that and score the first one. Open that baby up and now score the second one, or fold the second one. And I just make sure my lines are completely flush and lined up on each side before I commit with my bone folder or whatever you are folding your flaps over with, right? This is the golden nugget. This is how I perfected the flap. Because you think this is how they're going to go oop, 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 and fold down. If they are on an angle, nothing's going to fold out. It's all going to be wonk. So the first one I totally screwed up. The second one, when I did it, I went, I get it. I have to make sure this all folds lined up. So the next one too, perfectly. So even if you didn't score it perfectly, you can burnish it straight now. Okay, so making sure my edges all line up. Ta-da, la la. Okay, and then the next one is another 1/4 inch fold, making sure it all lines up on the sides. Okay, and then another 1/4 inch fold, all lines up. I'm making sure the tip of the top lines up on both sides, because see, right now mine is not straight, but I'll make it straight. I'll force it to be straight now when I score it or burnish it. Okay, totally square and flush. One more, line it up on that edge, line it up on this edge. There we go. Okay, so now I have folded all 6 of my little scored lines. Okay, I'm going to do it again quickly on the one I'm actually going to build, so that you have a reference when you go to come back after your practice one and make one. This is what we'll be doing, right? It really shows up with the contrast of the front and back of this pattern paper. Just make sure it's all flush with the edges, so when the contraption starts folding and doing its thing, that it doesn't get caught on the sides, okay? What do you think, friends? It's worth it. I really believe in the end it's worth it. And you will be able to use this element on cards, in your mini albums, whatever you want to do. People, you'd give this as a gift and they'd be like, oh my goodness, you're so smart. And you would be like, yes, I know. I am. Aren't you lucky to have me as a friend or a sister or a daughter? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, are we ready? Are we ready? So what will happen now is go back up to your first 1/4 inch flap. So before we glue or commit to anything, I'm going to tell you, this will be your last one, your smallest one, which is, it's maths, give me a minute, 2 3/4 is the last one. So I'm going to recommend that you stack them how they're going to be glued, or you're going to mess up. So if you want the textured side to be on the top, then make sure you stack them again, smallest to largest, but the last one you are going to glue down is the smallest piece. See, already, look, my math's not going to be right, but I will adjust that before I commit with glue. So now the first piece we're going to glue down is the 4 by 4. So you're going to close this sucker down. And if you have, you know, that Tim stuff that's kind of tacky, you could totally stick this on something tacky that won't rip your background off. It might be a little helpful to you, but look what will happen. Oh, sorry. The first one is going to go flat. Don't fold it over. Pardon me, friends, got a little excited. Because it has to fill your center square, right? So the first one is going to be totally like that. No, give me a minute. Let's look at something. Vicky's just making stuff up as I go along. Vicky's just making stuff up as she goes. That's why. These all have to fold to the back. So just fold them back. Sorry about that, friends. So not a biggie. Just fold it back. That's how it works. Okay? There we go. They all fold to the back like that, which makes sense, right? Fold to the back. Phew, I almost messed you all up and you would have come over here and kicked me. That makes sense. There we go, okay? So all those fold to the back. Okay, we're going to do the first one. You're going to glue your 4-inch to the first 1/4-inch line. You're going to glue, only add glue on that first 1/4-inch flap. Okay, first 1/4-inch flap. So I'm going to get my liquid glue because I found that was the easiest. But you do not want a lot of glue because you don't want it to seep out. It'll make a mess, okay? Are we good right now? Are you guys ready to commit? Yes, Natalie is the engineer. Did you know that Natalie is an engineer? She just never ceases to amaze us, does she? So only on that 1/4-inch fold, a little bead of glue just along there. Okay, so a little bead of glue just along the 1/4-inch top one. And now we are going to glue the 4x4, making sure it fits exactly square inside your box. Okay, exactly square inside your box. And then take that and fold it over like this. See, I need to do a little work, so pretend you can't see that. Mine are a little bit wider. Score tape, you could, but to be honest with you, I think that glue works better. And you know I am not a wet adhesive user. This is where these things matter. Like that was, did you see when I flipped it over and showed you? It was not exactly the same length as this bit. So that's why I made an adjustment. It has to be exactly the same width as this or you're going to run into issues, right? So I just took it off quickly and I fixed it. So I will glue that again right to that 1/4-inch top piece. But it has to be exactly the same width as that and then glued straight, okay? Glued straight, because this is where the mechanics, Natalie's super duper engineering tricks would come in. So it has to just line up there, okay? And then flip it over and rub it down and burnish it. So right now, can you guys see? It's just that 1/4-inch is attached to my first piece. Just the 1/4-inch is attached to the first piece. Okay, you can see it. Is that helpful for me to show you? So look at that piece is not folded over. I glued to the yellow side of it, or whatever you call this, green and peach side. And then making sure it's completely square inside the 4-inch square. It all has to be straight or you will run into issues. It won't flap. So these are the lessons I learned as I went, okay? So that's the first one. This is not bad. It flips. As it flips, you lose that 1/4-inch at the top. See? As it flips, the 1/4-inch folds under. So the next one, right, we're making sure everything is flush, is going to be your 3 3/4-inch piece. Remember what I said, if I glue this flat right here and it flaps back over, I'm going to have some overhang. So I am going to, from my 3 3/4-inch length, I'm going to trim a hair of that off because I don't want it to show under the 4-inch piece. So see, I just took a little smidgen off of the 3 3/4-inch length, not the 4-inch width, okay? So now when I glue it, I'm not going to have the overhang. You will see it here. I purposely didn't do it on this one so you can see what I'm talking about. So for each piece we're going to glue, I'm going to take a smidgen of the edge off. The glue goes on the front. You're gluing it, and the flap actually, because the mechanics of this, the piece is going to be added to the back. And it pulls it so the flap goes underneath. So everything you're gluing is to the front. Okay? Now mine were slightly too wide, wider than 4 inches, so don't do what I'm doing. This is only so I know it's the same width. Okay? You might have to watch this a few times to get it. And there's no shame in that, friends. I had to. I did not get it right the first time I did it, right? So now, oops. I'm ready to go. This piece is my confirm slightly smaller than 3 3/4 inch piece. When it goes in here and I glue it to the next 1/4 inch, right? There'll be no overhang now. So watch, friends. You take that and fold it up like that. I square it so I know my flaps are going to fold nicely. And now you're going to glue this piece to the next 1/4 inch. Okay, you're going to glue this to this next 1/4 inch on the front side of it, just to that piece. What is super important here? I'm going to put my little bead of glue. I measured everything so I know it's not wider. I know that the overhang is good. You're going to line that up now, again, making sure it is flush in your 4-inch square on the sides, and it is lined up cleanly with the piece above. Okay? I don't even leave any space. You don't have to. You just put that down on the 1/4 inch. Make sure it's straight, right? Like right now I need to move it because I can see some overhang there. So I just want to make sure it is nice and straight in that squared, flipped up. Make any adjustments if you need to before your glue dries, and commit. So what have I done so far? Look at now. Can you see it? 1/4 inch glued, 1/4 inch glued. I have the first 2 flaps in my waterfall. Flip, flip. It will end up, when we put the back piece on, drags it down. No, Carrie, they are mats. Nothing is scored on the peacock. Okay, nothing. See? Completely flat. It is attached to that 1/4 inch piece. It's only attached to the 1/4 inch, the first one. See? 1/4 inch attached to the yellow and green, or green and peach side of the paper. See? It flaps over. The second one is adhered. So now I have 2 flaps that are flush on the bottom and fit in my square. You may have to watch this a couple of times. Want to assure you it is 100% worth it. It is such a, I felt so accomplished when I got the second one right. It's totally worth it. But yeah, nothing is scored other than what I showed you, the 6/4 inches on the pattern paper. And then we'll come to another one, but right? So there's my first flap. Look at my second flap. They line up perfectly. And now what do we confirm before we glue anything down? Look at, there would be overhang, right? It will not fit perfectly when it flips. So this one here is 4 inches by 3.5. I'm going to trim a little tiny bit off the 3-inch length, 3.5 inch length. Just a little bit, a hair. Literally, look, just a little bit. And now don't watch this. It's mine are not exactly 4, so I'm cleaning it up, right? Look at, this is what Vicky's cleaning up. See how that, look at, that is no bueno. So I'm just trimming that little bit off because they have to all be very square or it won't work. So I'm going to just make that little adjustment so they are perfect. Perfect! Okay. Look. So now what are we gluing to is the next 1/4 inch flap. What do we have to remember? To keep all of it straight and square. So as that one will flap up, we want to make sure it all lines up. Boop, boop. Okay. So I am going to put my glue only on the 1/4 inch flap. Little bit, you don't need a lot. And this Connect glue from Gina K or that Barely Arts, the glue works very well. So which piece? Let's confirm. The next one we need, right, is the 3.5 by 4. Make sure you don't mess up your order of. Put that down, making sure, again, it completely lines up in the 4 inch and it is straight with the piece above. Okay, flip, flap. It looks good, commit. So look where we're at. I can't see anything overhanging. When I flip this up, the 4 by 4 looks like the only piece there, and then we go ba-blam, ba-blam, ba-blam. Love it, right? So now they're flipping. They're lined up. It's awesome. And we go to the next one, which is the 3 1/4. Again, I'm going to trim a little bit off the edge and a little bit off the side. Only, you don't have to trim off the side. Remember why Vicky has to? Because mine are not, weren't exactly 4 inches. So if you want to confirm if it's the next piece, this is the easiest way to confirm. Does it fit in there? It sure does. I'm not seeing a 1/4 inch or anything above it. It's perfect. It fits. It's the same width. I'm good to go. It fits in. It has to trim a little bit. Just ignore Vicky for a sec. Oop. So what do? Adhesive on your next 1/4 inch. How we doing, friends? Have any of you quit me? I'm sure some of you are like, oh my good Lord. But that's why I did this so early, because that gives us lots of time to master it before it goes in your book. So there we go. Flippity flip, Barbara trick. Make sure it's lined up on the sides. Looks good. Make sure it's lined up when I close it or flip it. And if not, I still have time to adjust. Looks good. Flip carefully and adhere and score. Right? So how many do we have right now? We have 4 attached. 4 are attached. So do you see what will end up happening? You know the little piece that we have scored? It will end up being attached to the back of this. And that's what you pull out, and it makes everything go boop, 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 boop. There we go, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to attach 5. When you get to 6, if you're working ahead, it gets glued solidly to this, okay? It is not a flap, the last one. So I'm going to trim the little bit off the top. See, it's still too wide for mine, so I'm going to make sure I make that adjustment. Oh, I just played the banjo with my, looks good. Okay. Put on your adhesive. Totally rewarding little interactive bit. People are going to be looking at your album going, that is so cool, if they haven't seen it before in a card. Like I said, I did not create this. This has been around for a long time. I just thought, heck, that'll be fun to add to our album. And I feel if you guys have been around for a while, you're ready for this. Even if you think you're not, you are. Okay, good. Let's see. Clean. Yas. Okay, last one. Even though it's a flap, this will be glued solidly. Okay, it's going to be attached right to the whole piece because it's your last piece. Okay, I don't need to trim any of it off this either. It looks like it's going to fit nicely, so I'm not going to trim anything off. But what will you need to make sure when you attach this now, right? See where we're at? We scored the 6-inch, but it doesn't actually get attached like that. It gets only glued there, friends. But you could glue it now down with your, look, mine's actually a little small, but it's totally okay. You're going to glue this whole piece down. So now I can go in with my tape runner. And this last piece gets attached to the base here. Okay. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, if you made it out of the real paper, if you're following along with me, we're not going to attach the final step yet. That makes it interactive because we haven't lined it with pattern paper. See this one here? See this piece? Boop, boop, boop. Isn't lined yet, this piece. So I'm not going to attach it, I'm just going to explain to you how it works. But guess what? I can attach it on my practice one because I left that step just so I could show you. So I will grab a scrap piece and show you what I'm talking about. So see this one? It's exactly where we're at this point. This practice one I did ahead of time is exactly where we should be finished. So I have my 4 by 5.5 piece. When we get to this, I'm going to grab any kind of pattern paper right now that I have to show you. And your piece will eventually fit right in there, so I'm going to cut this quickly at 4.5. Just for your practice. 5 golden rings. Is that what you were waiting for? Kristen was waiting. Oops, that's too big. That is too big, Vicky. It's 3.5. So when we get to this, right, we'll eventually have a little piece that goes inside. I'm just eyeballing this for now. I'm not asking you to cut this. I just want you to understand, okay? We're not doing the finished piece for the album yet. We'll do that on prep day. Give me a second. I'm going to grab my corner rounder. Okay, so remember we folded the 1/4-inch flap to the front, so the texture's on the front. And what will end up happening when we finish this, you can do this with your practice piece. right? Line that up. Okay. What will end up happening, right? Now you need the mechanism. You've kind of built this. You need now, like, what is going to pull this so that they flap? Well, what needs to happen is this 1/4 inch will end up being adhered on the, put it on the front of the flap, right? So I'm not doing this for my finished piece. I'm only showing you on the practice. It needs to glue right to the top here. So, right, look at whatever piece you're doing or lining it up, you have your stack closed. This piece will attach that 1/4 inch right to the top of that. What do you need to make sure is that it's, again, all lined up perfectly straight and behind. Shouldn't see that on the front, right? So when you line that up, it needs to be lined up with that first 1/4 inch flap on the back. Okay, Vicky's, I can't do it holding it, I have to lay it flat. So make sure it's lined up inside your 4, like that. Make sure it's straight and committed. Right? So when you open it, see what you'll see? It's only attached. Make sure you burnish it. Make sure that glue is attached, because this is a piece that's important that it's really stuck down. And what ends up happening now, hold your frame. Look what happens when you pull this. Waterfall flap. Burp, burp, burp. When we finish this, the 3 sides that are cut will be attached to a base. Let's do it. Let's just show you on here. Will that work? No. Let me grab another piece of paper just to show you. Don't glue anything down on your permanent one, but just so you see how this will end up working. Once I find, I need a something. I need a Nita. Laugh, look at, it's the liner from my stencils. So I'll just attach it to that for now. When we go to finish this, guess what we would do? We would just glue it on these sides. We would line that all up. Lickety split. Secured. Now watch what happens. Waterfall flaps. Okay, so you can glue your practice one down, and if you practice, what do you need to do before prep day? You need to make it out of the pieces from your kit. Question, what is the dimensions of the ending flap you just made? This piece, the actual mechanism to pull, was a 4 by 5.5. 4 by 5.5. Okay. So if you did the practice with me, I hope that by Saturday you will have created this portion. That's all. I want you to have this ready and this piece. This ready and this piece. And then we will finish it together with the prep. The backer doesn't matter right now, Chris. The backer is just so I could show you on the practice one. Whatever size backer you want to put it on just needs to be bigger than here. In our album, it's going to be something totally different. I'll show you again. Because if you're visual like me, you need to see what the heck's going on, right? I'm so proud of you guys. Don't you feel super rewarded right now? Like that work was worth it. But I hope I helped you by showing you the issues I had, by explaining that it all needs to line up perfectly is what makes it work. So I hope that my pain of the first one I made, see, when we go to do this, it's going to be cut, the base is going to be out of the second piece of peacock. So we didn't do that yet, okay? It'll be out of the second piece, and then look what happens. Do, do, do. But it's a flap and a pocket. So that will be coming. You did it. I'm so proud of you. Like, how rewarding is this? Do, do, do. And you could totally put photos on both sides. You could put journaling for each story. Later, we could do a longer flap than this, but I think it's a great place to start. And do you understand why we needed to do it on prep day? So if your friends are doing this class with you and they're like, I don't have time to do prep day, please let them know they need to do it at some point. Because look, this would have taken us a whole 40 minutes to an hour to do, and I didn't want it to eat up all of our prep day or the class day. So when we're done, totally rewarding, love it. I don't put 20 of these in here because this album would take a month to make, right? So I think it's one fun addition that I just like doing this over and over again. Like, who wouldn't love this, right? What a great thing to do for a kid's birthday card. How would they love that, right? Question, can you show us the colors of cardstock? I had the stuff, sorry, didn't buy the kit. I can show you what I have left, and I listed them all on Access Only. All the colors are listed with the brand. I put American Crafts and Basil, so I did list them. But you know what? I always say, guess what cardstock colors you need? Whatever you have at home that matches this kit, right? You already have the papers, so just match your kit. But I'll show you what is left in the kit. There were 2 peacock. So what do we need for prep day? This. Whatever you made today was a bonus. There's a little bonus element. This could still go in your album if you made something that was like matchy, right? Okay, so let me show you those colors. So proud of you guys. It just feels so good. So guess what I'm going to do? I don't want to lose it. So I will clip it and put it with the other pieces that I have cut. Okay? Boop. That I just threw on the floor. Because that's, you know, my organizing spot is on the floor. Okay. When we do prep day, I'm going to go through the whole kit. I'm not going to go through the whole kit now. You do have a list of everything that's in the kit on Vicky, on the creative community private board for this group, right? On the Vicky Booten Print Shop private group. If you have not joined, make sure you are on there. I would feel like you have to be on there or you wouldn't be here, because I don't know where you would have found the link. But cardstock. I hope it's all in here because I've been messing around with this kit. Yeah, here we go. 2 sheets of peacock, 1 sheet of calypso, which is just more of a teal color, some kind of green. This one I think is leaf green. I don't remember what the names are, but just a green that matches your kit. 2 mustard that matches the kit. 2 of a peachy color. And always the 2 white cardstocks that we'll do the cards with. Okay. On prep day, we are going to separate the kits. Prep day is very important. If you can't be here live, you definitely want to do that because we are setting ourselves up for success for when the class starts. So prep day is super important. I think today was important to get this one done unless you know exactly what you're doing or you're going to do the element later. Even if you say you're like, Vicky, I wish I could have been there. I'm watching after the fact, but there's too much going on in my life right now. I can't do it all. It's no biggie. You can cut all your pieces, clip them, and then watch prep day or meet and greet later. Prep day is important. You can't really move forward without it because we're going to do a bunch of our paper cutting. talk about the fussy cutting, separate some of our ephemera pieces. We will probably be here for at least 3 hours. I'd say 3 hours for prep. Maybe 2 to 3 hours. Depends how much talking I do. Right? Did you use glue or adhesive to attach the back pull? Adhesive. I use my tape runner. I'm going to turn the camera around again, friends, and talk to you. Here we go. Boop, boop. Flip it around, look up my nose. Hi! So I think that was fun, right? Now is your time to ask me any questions or tell me a story. There, adjusted. I don't want to hang up on you, so just give me a second. Ooh. One day, I will have a better system. For right now, I'm quite happy to have any kind of system that I can bring you these classes. So that was good, right, friends? Fun, and it's kind of the teaser warm-up for this whole event. I love paper crafting. I love manipulating paper to make magical things. It's kind of awesome that really, what was the expense? You could make 700 of those out of stuff that you have laying around the house, right? Hi, B. So lots of fun. You need to get that stuff set up. Saturday is prep day. I will have the cutting diagram all posted prior to, so you can print that. You will want to have your kit. You will want to have your Post-it notes. And I'll be checking in this week. So I'll be sharing stuff. Like when the layouts are done, which I might work on tonight, because now I'm kind of excited to keep going. I will post the sneak peeks. I will be answering any of your questions. Of course, Natalie is awesome. She will be helping you. The rest of the community will as well. It's going to be so much fun. Any questions? Do you guys have any concerns or anything you want to share with me right now? What are you having for supper? I'm making spaghetti squash, stuffed spaghetti squash and meatballs. And I roasted an acorn squash today with a little bit of olive oil. And if you use pumpkin pie spice and you roast your acorn squash with that, oh, it's so good. So yeah, I'm making stuffed spaghetti squash, and then the other parts of my family are having meatballs and pasta, but I don't do that. Beer butt chicken for us tonight. That sounds good. Shrimp and coleslaw and squash. Yummy. Good stuff, right? Question: what brand is your mini scoreboard? We are Memory Keepers, and they're very inexpensive. I sell them on my shop. I laugh, one of the ladies had come to pick up her kit, and I said, I have a ton of stuff, punches, tools, a whole bunch of stuff to add to my store, but I want to get through print shop first, and then there's so much coming this year. It's gonna knock your socks off. There's gonna be so much fun for us to you can participate in as much of it or as little as you want, but I'm gonna keep it coming because I like having you guys around. So I hope you enjoyed that. Right? The class is time stamped, so you can always jump to a specific place. And Natalie does all of that for me. She is a freaking rock star. So any questions? Anything that you'd like me to answer? I'm scared the Vikings will disappoint again. Oh, is that the sports? I don't even know. What are they? Football? Soccer? I don't even know. I have hockey, I kind of understand, and then the rest I don't, and not really a sporty person. Will you be adding the star hole punch? Yes, I have all of it, Sonia. But remember, if I add it, I have to fulfill the orders right now. So it's coming, but I want to do all of the things. I want to put all my attention into print shop so this experience is excellent for you guys. And then I'm organizing all of the, what do you call that? Inventory to add to my store. So there's going to be a lot of fun stuff, and grab boxes. It is the thing, because the month of February is quieter for me. I don't have any design work or anything I have to do. So it will be setting up all of 2023 and all the plans. So gel plate number 2. I want to do the second photography class later in the year, so clean up the first one if you guys haven't done, and then get ready for the new collection release. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you, as always, my friends, for joining me. If you have any questions, please post them on the group page, the private group page, because once I walk away from this, I won't come back to answer questions. So if you do have questions, please help over there. And as always, thank you, Natalie. She is an awesome sidekick, helps us all keep on track, and very helpful. So thank you, my friend, as always. And have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. So some of my friends in other parts of the world, I hope you're enjoying your Monday. And I will see you again live on Saturday this coming weekend, 2 p.m. Eastern time, for part 2 of this for prep work. Get your snacks and get ready, because it is like a class. We're going to be doing a partial class, and I will be on the group, private group, answering questions and sharing stuff all week for the upcoming event. So thank you very much. Love you guys. That was awesome. And I'll see you later. So here comes my big sausage finger to close us down. See you guys.